So far on this course, you should have learnt the importance of giving them some undivided attention, how important it is to reward some simple behaviours, and how to shift your mindset to a more positive one. All these things are going to boost your relationship with your dog. So now we have done all of that, we now need to start thinking about how we can have a conversation with our dogs and giving them a voice and an opinion. Giving your dog this will really open up a whole new level of trust with you, and it's amazing what you'll be able to achieve with a better conversation. Be your dog's superhero, their friend, their guardian, or their teacher. Forget about all the nonsense of you being the alpha and not letting them rule the house, or being a leader and making sure you're dominant over your dog. All this is going to do is put a big barrier up in between you and your dog from developing a strong relationship. How many of you have had a boss that you can really truly call a friend that'll be there no matter what? I imagine that's not many of you, unless you've gone to work for a friend. So you're probably wondering how we go about having that conversation with our dog and allowing them to have an opinion. Well, the first thing we need to understand is how a conversation works. It works by two or more people or living beings exchanging information by one person talking and one person listening and then taking it in turns. So you're probably thinking, I've gone mad. How is your dog going to talk back to you? Well, of course it can. We just need to learn how to listen to them and learn their language. So your dog's language is made up of body language and particular behaviours for a certain situation. Now, unfortunately, this video isn't going to go into loads and loads of detail of everything you need to know about your dog's body language to fully understand them. But what I am going to do is I'm going to teach you some of the subtle signs to look out for, which will indicate that your dog is starting to feel a little bit stressed and maybe a little bit uncomfortable. I really think it's important that this is the time where you need to listen, because if you don't and you ignore it, then you're potentially going to have a negative impact on this relationship you are now starting to achieve with your dog. So before I go into teaching you about all these subtle things your dog does to show that they're stressed, I need you to remember that it's important you consider the environment that's going on around your dog when your dog is displaying these behaviours or subtle signs, because not all stress is bad stress, and sometimes you will see some of these subtle signs at times of high excitement. So let's take a closer look so you understand what I mean and you can start having that really important conversation with your dog. Dogs yawn to intake more oxygen. A dog will need more oxygen if they're preparing for fight or flight, so it could be a signal that the dog is feeling uncomfortable. However, remember the context is important to consider. Dogs also yawn when they're tired or when they are preparing for something exciting. If you see your dog panting when it's not hot or when they haven't done any exercise, this can be a sign of stress. Stress increases the dog's heart rate and causes the muscles to go tense. This all increases their metabolic activity, which produces heat. The panting prevents them from overheating and helps them draw in more oxygen. Have you ever noticed your dog leave damp paw prints on a smooth floor when they haven't walked on anything damp? No? Keep an eye out next time you go to the vets. Dogs' sweat glands are in their paws, and due to the increased metabolic rate that stress causes, they need to expel heat. There may even also be some scent marking happening via the sweat to warn other dogs of the potential dangers. Another sign that your dog is feeling uncomfortable is poor concentration, so your dog may become unusually distracted and fidgety. They also might avoid eye contact with a direct move of their head away from you. They may look away from you or whatever is making them feel uncomfortable. This is their way of asking, "Please leave me alone." Another sign that you can see in this picture is their ears pulled back. Often when you see the dog's ears go back, you will also see some lip licking. This is said to be similar to nail biting in nervous people and can often be paired with a yawn as well. Another sign to look out for is furrowed brows. This is where the dog pulls its eyebrows up and together, a little bit like us when we frown. Also, notice in this picture how you can see the white of the dog's eye. This is a clear sign that they're worried, and it's what we call whale eye. Notice in this picture we've also got some lip licking, but also we've got raised hackles. This is when their hair at the back of their neck and sometimes along their back stands up. This is often misinterpreted as a sign of aggression, but is actually a sign of heightened arousal. So this could be due to overexcitement or some uncertainty about the situation. It's like us when we get goosebumps. The dog is also shown a paw raise. This is usually done whilst looking at the situation that is making them anxious. It's likely paired with other stress signals, like we can clearly see. And lastly for this video is lead grabs. This is when your dog grabs hold of the lead and starts tugging on it. It can often be misinterpreted as play, but is often a sign of stress. Try to figure out what sparks this, as there is usually a pattern. Again, context is key, as it can be due to frustration, due to being overexcited and impatient, but this is still a form of stress. So hopefully now you can go off and have a better conversation with your dog because you've become a better listener. The key to success with this is having a keen eye, watching them carefully, and then acting accordingly if you see signs of stress or your dog feeling uncomfortable. It may be as simple as just taking a moment, let them have a breather and relax. Or you might need to make the situation easier for them to cope with. But by doing this and listening to them, they're gonna start trusting you more. And we all know the more we trust somebody, the stronger our relationship is.